What I meant to ask when I called you earlier was not where I put my flashcards, on the counter, or desk drawer, or maybe my jacket pocket where you inserted your hand while the cell crinkled and roughed. What I meant to ask was where I should put us. Like, will it will it just end like it started, in a language I have only begun to learn, evading percept or recall, though I often sit cross-legged on the rug and sort them into piles, hobbies, times of day, things we eat, things we are, American, Chinese, busy, happy, late, approaching, the bottom of deck, hand frozen in indecision, still unsure where to put you, where to put me. Um, and I'm really excited to have this Wild Root Journal piece in my first ever chapbook that is being published with Fomoir Press. Rachel Bela as editor-in-chief, who is also featured, I understand, is it this coming issue, Aaron? Yeah, okay, cool.
Just the
And
previous one in May, yeah.
Oh, it's the previous one. Okay, great. Yeah, the chapbook is called Character Flaws, and this can go on your new podcast about dating, Chris, because it's about judgment of the self and judgment of others in sexual and romantic relationships. And it's also yeah, okay, cool. And it's also queer as fuck. So happy Pride. So have some fun with that. Too, that makes it kind of fun. But yeah, trying to look at where relationships crumble, and how that turns into self-talk or talk about others, and how we sort of reach for stories to tell about that. And in the case of um, uh, what I meant to ask, this poem, I think in Wild Roof it was originally titled "Where I Meant to," what I meant to ask about the flashcards. But oh, by the way, I guess that's a craft thing. That also, when you're starting to build for a chapbook, you can make alterations. When something gets published, that doesn't mean it's set in stone. That means it's first journey out, and poems are living beings. But anyway, yeah, this poem, for example, was about an early stage of dating with somebody, and where I was they were Chinese and spoke Mandarin, and that was one of a set of motivations that had me thinking about learning a language. And there's that funny thing where we can, once we're putting effort into an aspect of a relationship, wonder, am I doing this for myself? And or am I doing this for the other person? And how that can then come to bear on the relationship and create pressure. And that sometimes I noticed this speaker, this version of myself, was as I invested more time in a relationship, I had some desire to have control over where I put you and where I put me. How do we talk about relationships, and sort of the creating of labels. And so that's what this poem was exploring. And so much more sad and horny and pining and also happy gay poems in Character Flaws at Fomoir Press. You can pre-order now. I'll give Aaron the link so it can be in the wherever this podcast ends up. And really,
this is on a completely first response. I hadn't read it before, so I'm only going by hearing it. But the idea of flashcards as a mechanism of organization, that's so perfect. That's so perfect. Because how many of us have read that self-help book You're like, all right, I'm gonna prioritize. I'm gonna do my vision boards, and so that's like steep. That's everywhere. And then acknowledging that, yeah, that might not be it, but it's an attempt to create or superimpose order over chaos, and yet, so yeah, the kind of tension there is very nice. That hits right nice and close.
Thank you. And also it says the host disabled screen sharing. Shoot, I was going to share but for those of you who get a chance to check it out in the issue, or Aaron, are you able to, if you are, anyway, I actually do end up creating columns to try to sort of sort out the cards, in the poem. And thank you, Chris, for catching that energy of, right, don't we all want to reach for self-help and for a simple solution? Like, oh, surely if I
prioritize,
then my romantic puzzles will be solved and I will be a fully evolved person, and then it's like
Post-it notes. I got an office full of post-it notes that I hate. I resent
right.
all of them.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, I will absolutely post the link, so it'll be on the website page, podcast page. Because yeah, there is a visual component to the, like you said, the columns of the words. And I remember shout out to Anna Schechter, a reader, way back when. I remember when she was reading your submission, that was one that really caught her attention. So just kind of one of those things. Okay, let's take a look at this. And yeah, just that spatial quality of it, which kind of adds that other, a tactile, maybe even if you can kind of imagine feeling them, but also just kind of you're setting it up in space, which is kind of neat.